Most retirees in Thailand don't settle where they start. In fact, there's a very consistent pattern where people arrive, where they struggle, and where they eventually feel most at ease. What's interesting is this: the place retirees choose long term usually isn't the most exciting, the most popular, or the most talked about, and almost no one explains why until after they've already moved. This isn't a best place video. I'm not ranking cities. I'm not recommending one place over another. This is about patterns. What actually happens after the honeymoon phase fades and daily life quietly takes over. If you're planning to retire in Thailand, or you're already here and wondering where you truly fit long term, this video will help you understand where retirees actually settle and why. Almost every retiree in Thailand moves through the same three phases, whether they realize it or not. The first phase is what most people talk about. Phase 1, the honeymoon. Everything feels affordable. Everything feels easy. Energy replaces reflection. You're exploring, you're adjusting, you're stimulated. In this phase, excitement does the emotional work for you. But that phase doesn't last, and it's not supposed to. Then comes the phase that actually shapes the rest of your retirement. Phase 2, the adjustment. Routines form, friction appears, preferences sharpen. This is when small things start to matter: noise, distance, effort, pace. This is where fit starts to matter. And then finally, there's the phase most advice never really addresses. Phase 3, sustainability. Days matter more than weekends. Calm replaces stimulation. Ease replaces novelty. This is the phase where happiness is decided. Most advice stops at phase 1, but long-term contentment is built in phase 3. Most retirees begin in higher energy places, and there's nothing wrong with that. Cities like Bangkok and Pattaya pull people in for very different reasons. There's infrastructure, access to everything, constant movement, social availability. These places feel alive. They feel like momentum, especially at the beginning. When you first arrive, momentum feels reassuring. It feels like you made the right decision. But momentum and sustainability are not the same thing. What energizes you at first can slowly exhaust you later. And many retirees don't realize that shift is happening until their days start to feel heavier than they expected. After the adjustment phase begins, many retirees start to downshift. Not because something is wrong, but because their needs change. Their sensory fatigue, social exhaustion, a desire for quieter, simpler routines. This is when people often move to places like Jomtien or Hua Hin. These places feel calmer, more manageable, more breathable. But here's the part people don't always expect. For many retirees, these locations are still transitional. They solve some problems, but not all of them. They feel better, but not always complete. And that realization quietly pushes people into the final phase. Quick note, if this way of breaking things down is helpful, you might want to do me a massive favor and subscribe to the channel. This channel focuses on real adjustment phases of retiring in Thailand, the part that usually comes after the excitement fades. Alright, let's continue. Here's the part most people don't expect. Long-term retirees tend to settle in places that are routine friendly, community based, low friction, emotionally predictable. These aren't places built around entertainment. They're places built around daily life. You often see this in quieter neighborhoods of Chiang Mai, smaller coastal towns, or secondary cities that rarely show up in the glossy videos. They're not exciting, they're livable. These are places where errands don't feel like tasks, where days don't require planning, where peace isn't something you chase, it's something you wake up to. These are places where days feel complete without effort, and that's the key difference. The real decision retirees make isn't about location, it's about rhythm, how your day feels, how often effort is required, whether peace feels natural or forced. Long-term happiness doesn't come from choosing the right place on paper. It comes from choosing a rhythm that supports your energy, your routines, and your emotional needs. The happiest retirees don't chase places, they settle into rhythms. And once that rhythm fits, the desire to move fades on its own. Most retirees don't fail in Thailand. They simply start in places designed for excitement and end in places designed for living. Long-term happiness comes from choosing a place that supports your daily life, not your expectations. And when that fit is finally right, moving stops because there's nothing left to search for. In the next video, I'll explain why some retirees move 3 or 4 times before they finally settle, and what they usually misunderstand at the very beginning. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like the channel and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And I'll see you on the next video, guys.